How would you like to put this beautiful ledger stone on your house? Well, this is the video for you. This is what I've been doing. I took some big old boulders off, and I'm putting this brand new stuff on the side of a house from beginning to end, from the tear out to the finished product, which is this right here. It's beautiful stone. I mean, this stuff looks great. Just do me a favor, hit like, hit subscribe. Maybe we can get this video go viral. I've been working at this for a while, and the rocks that I tore off were heavy. You'll see, they're heavy. Before, check out this. This is what it looked like before. So let's get going. First, let your and make sure you got it's called a rock box. It's not a big dumpster. It's like a half the size of the dumpster because those rocks were heavy.
Oh yeah, that's a full rock box.
Some were weighing over 50 pounds each. I don't know how they got it back in the day. I give props to those masonry guys for putting this old stone on the buildings back then. Real stone, man. It's insane. Okay, let's get going.
Another piece. Just keep attacking it. Then you start from the top and work down, and they're stacked on top of one another. That's why I'm going from the top, because once I get to the top, all this will. Here we go, big chunk. See that? That kind of hurt. But just be careful when you're doing this. Like a domino. Keep working at it. Another chunker. Don't get hurt. These are heavy. Let's see. Now I'll just come down. Okay, I got the top unsecure, so it's the last top piece, and then the rest should come off pretty easy. Let's see if I can pry off. That's it. Look at this. That's how easy it comes off. Don't give up. Woohoo! I was trying to do this so it don't hit my my board is all chewed up. My ladder's about to break. But see how it starts to come off pretty easy. So when all the debris falls down, I have a wheelbarrow and a couple of buckets. Right now I'm just trying to go as fast as I can. I worked till 6:30 at night tearing these rocks off the wall. By the time I was done, man, I was wiped. I gotta wheel it over to my dumpster. I'm practicing for strongman. Stones. By the power of my Lord, I will throw these heavy rocks and fill up this rock box. Oh yeah, that's a full rock box. I got this grinder from Home Depot probably about 6 or 7 years ago. I spent $20. And the blade on here is about a $20 blade, which lasts a long time. And this is the same grinder that I use on all my tear outs. Plus, it's the one in the video I show you cutting the stone with. Go out and get one. They're awesome. I'm just using like a 3/16 by 3 or a quarter by a quarter or 5/8 by 5/8. Using a little VersaBond. You just trowel it up and then you screw it with your backer board screws. And remember, out here in California, if you over concrete, it's 2 inches above the concrete. You got to keep the board or your stone from the foundation, the concrete or pavers or whatever. And earth or dirt is 6 inches, like over the side there. I'll have to keep it 6 inches up, but right here is 2 inches. So I just put a board down right there. I'll just stack. That's 2.25 inches from the concrete. So then I just trowel out this thin set. All VersaBond. Change the old battery out. Make sure you got plenty of batteries. Every 6 inches will do. I highly recommend you using an impact drill instead of a regular drill, because that's what they're made for, is to drive in screws more effortlessly and easily and into tough or whatever. So use an impact drill, but if you don't have one, a regular drill will work. Glue on my board, it's like it's just firm. Some guys will run paper underneath there and then screw their board onto the siding. But I like to glue it on and waterproof it, and then it's just, I mean, it's stronger than ever. The other way is just weak. So if you can, always glue your board down. It's just better, especially on floors. Okay, now time to red gourd. Notice I got my tape on there. I'm just using fiberglass tape, self-sticking tape. Of course, it doesn't stick that good. I like to put it on before. I'm putting it on this way. Most guys will use thin set to put the tape on. This is fiberglass tape you can get in the sheetrock department. But since I set my board and I want to get this all done in one day, if you put it on with thin set, you're going to have to wait till it absolutely dries. I mean, completely dries. So that's why I'm doing it like this today. And I got gloves on my hands. That way I can make sure the tape doesn't fall off. And I don't have to worry about cleaning my hands right away. Because if you don't clean your hands or wipe it up immediately, it will stick to everything, and then it's really hard to get off. So make sure you're pretty clean. And another thing, put a lot of tarps down because if it gets on the concrete, the only way of getting it up is wiping it, but then it smears it, or you scrape it the next day, and then it's just a pain. So put a lot of tarps down so you don't have to worry. And take your time. Have a nice square corners. Just enjoy what you're doing. That's what I do. And I got a 3/8 nap roller, and I got a cheap old 99 cents trim brush that I keep. And make sure you go one way with your roller and then another way. You got to put 2 coats on. If you see any holes, make sure you hit it with the old paintbrush the next day. So I already tried out my thin set. Make sure you got a bucket of water and a rubber hammer to do this. And I'm kind of tired because I've been doing this for a couple of days and they're heavy. Make sure you wear gloves. I'm not wearing gloves because my camera, it's hard to shut it off and on when I got my gloves on, but let's get some gloves at Home Depot. I think these are a couple of bucks. So okay, I got it troweled out. Got my water. Sure it's all clean. Make sure you got complete coverage. I knew that because the board has a little whoop-de-whoop. Take your measurement. I got 21 and I'll go all thick, fat, thick 5/8, 21 and 5/8, but thick. Yep, 2 of them. 21 and 5/8, so I'm going to cut them and put them on. All right, there's only 2 ways to cut this stuff, either by a wet saw or by a grinder. If you use a grinder, it's a lot of dust. So I will show you with the grinder and the wet saw. You might want to wear some air protection and glass protection especially when you're using this grinder. I'm kind of gotten lazy, so I'm not using it. And as I say, take your time. Make sure there's a lot of water in this saw. Always look, make sure the blade is good, because if you don't have enough water, sparks will shoot out and break your towel. So just always check out. I put the pump in a bucket of water so it's always clean. If I were to use one process, I'd probably have to go to the wet saw. It's cleaner, it's faster, it's not as dirty. So, but when you cut it, the stone is hard, so take your time and don't just buzz it through, because it's not going to do that. It's a lot harder to cut the regular tile. You're looking about 2 to 3 times longer to run a piece through, so make sure you got a good blade on there. Plenty of buckets to throw all the scrap. Make sure you put a lot of tarps down because you can keep them messy. Yeah, make sure you get some really good knee pads. I got these at Home Depot or a flooring company, whatever. I'll leave a description below. And And when you're troweling this thin set out, make sure you cover all this red guard with it, every little bit, because if you look through, since this is a dry stack, and that's what ledger stone is, you just stack it on and you don't grout it. So you'll be able to look through the cracks and see red if you do not cover it. So make sure every little bit gets covered with your thin set. And I haven't sped this up so you can exactly see how I do this with 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch notch trowel. And my thin set is just, it won't run down the wall. It wants to, but it's just right there. It just hangs, like I said, like peanut butter. So that's the best way. Make sure you totally mix up your thin set before you use it. Just read the directions on the VersaBond. Keep everything super clean. I change the water every single day when I get to work. I empty it out and I wash out the bucket and the sponge. And I'm using one of these yellow sponges that you can get in the tile department. They work the best. No other sponges. I actually use these sponges to wash my car with. They're actually the best for doing this. Keep everything super clean. Your hands, your tools, because this thin set will get over everything. Everything gets just nasty. And if you don't clean it up there right, next day it's hard as rock. And I'm letting this play out. I'm not going to speed it up because I really want you to see how I do this. If you use a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch notch trowel and it's all, the surface you're putting it to, like this backboard, is all flat, well, that's basically, it'll get a full coverage. But if you got any whoop-de-woos or dips or humps, you might want to coat the back of the ledger stone too with the trowel. That way you get complete coverage. But this board was pretty flat. So I was checking every once in a while throughout the process. That you see before I took my pointer, which you should have is some kind of pointer, and you just peel the ledger stone away, and you see how much thin set's on the back. Another way you can tell if you get a lot of coverage is you'll put the stone on the surface, and if it slides back and forth easily, that means you got a lot of coverage and you don't need much more. But if you put it on there and it doesn't move and it's stuck, that means you don't have enough thin set. And I use this rubber hammer, which worked great, to tap it around instead of trying to use my fingers or whatever. This just worked perfect. Plus it beats it into the thin set. And do use a level every 2 rows to check. And I actually did a close-up to see. I'm using these horseshoe wedges or spaces, whatever you want to call them, and they're 1/16 of an inch, and I don't want to wedge one side up and have a big old gap in there, so I figured I'll just use 1/16, and I'll go, I think I put 4 of them in here every ledger stone, which if you count the tile, it's actually 4. That's what you see me doing with my knife, is counting where I can stick these U-shaped wedges in there. And just take your time and have some fun. Don't get all stressed. But if you do not check these, what I stacked them off was level. If you look carefully at the wood that I'm stacking them off, I made sure that stuff was absolutely level. But nothing's perfect, so keep checking it with your level as you go up, and you'll have no problems at all. Make sure you level these things. If not, they're going to get out of control fast. So use a wedge or these things or whatever, but make sure you keep checking them as you go up. So let's go up. Ups in, and like I said, I'm tired, man. I've been doing this for... Started this project a week and a half ago, so today's the day I'm ready to go. I'll be tired. And I'm rambling. So next picture you see will be it all done. Okay, we're all done. Look at that, beautiful. Cleaned up, ready to get out of here. Nice, huh? You too can do this. All this. Look how tight that is up there. Look at that. How I ended that thing. See that? Good thing I don't have to grout anything, but I am gonna, where it looks like the joint's a little too wide, I'm either gonna caulk them or put a little thin set in there to kind of make it a little bit better, because it starts looking like panels, like the owner was saying. So I'm gonna try to do my best to hide it all. Just a little thin set. I'll take a picture before and after, and I'll tell you how I do. I'll tell you right now, I just take a little thin set and put it in the joints and wipe it down. Or I take a little caulking that kind of matches. It doesn't matter, whatever color, gray. And I'll just caulk the joints a little bit, not a lot, just to kind of make it beautiful. So